Hello there, stamping friends. It's Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. Today, we're going to make a card using an old stamp set that I haven't touched in quite a while. It's called Timeless Tulips. Why I stuck it away and let it get dusty, I don't know, but I had to bring it back out. But what's more fun, what I want to share with you today, is a challenge that I did with my demonstrator team. Now, you might want to do the same stamping challenge as well. You know, I know a lot of you participate in stamping challenges all over. Sometimes they're like a color challenge or a sketch challenge, or, you know, there's all different versions out there. Well, I came up with a new idea and I did it with my team and it was so much fun. So I'm going to share my card, but then over on my website, I'm also going to share a few of the cards that my teammates made so that you can see how they use the challenge themselves. Now, this challenge, I've I guess, came up with it on my own, and I'm calling it a cut and create challenge. So it's not really a sketch challenge. It's not a color challenge. It's something totally different. Basically, I gave them all the measurements of what to cut. Now, I didn't say what color. We haven't talked stamp sets. We haven't talked layouts. I just said, you need to cut these pieces. Now you need to create something. And I'm going to show you those pieces when I get to it, because I'm going to kind of make my card as if I was one of those team members using this challenge. So again, if you'd like to do it, you know, I'll probably, when I make my card, you might get stuck on my layout, but I'd like you to kind of try to think outside of the box. So speaking of stamping challenges, you know, sometimes they make you try things outside of your box. If you guys are like me, my cards, a lot of them tend to look the same. I tend to use the same layout, the same cutting dimensions. You know, they're very similar. So something like this will make you try something new and different. And if you join the Klompen Stampers, or you join Stampin' Up! And then you join my Klompen Stampers team, we do lots of stamping challenges. Most of my team are hobby stampers. So we like to do a lot of things just to get the hobby stampers outside of their box, stamping more, trying new ideas, trying new techniques. So we do tons of challenges with them. So if you'd like to kind of expand your stamping, try something new, and be part of a super fun community, think about joining the Klompen Stampers. And just a little side note, we're gonna get stamping really quick, I promise, because I don't like to talk a lot. But right now, during celebration, between now and the end of September, is a great time to join the Klompen Stampers. Stampin' Up! Has a special. You get to pick out $125 of whatever you want out of any catalog that's current. You're going to only pay $99 for that, plus get free shipping on it. And you get to pick out an additional bundle. Now, they have 12 different ones to pick from. And those are valued like anywhere between 40 some and 60 some. And you get to pick one of those out for free. So it's the perfect time to join. And then you can participate in all these fun stamping challenges that we have, along with a lot of other fun things we do as a demonstrator team. Okay. Enough chit chat. I promise I'd stamp, and let's get to it. So let's go flip the camera down. I'm going to show you how the challenge worked, and then I'm going to make a card using Timeless Tulips. Hold on one second. So first I'm going to share the challenge, how I shared it with my team. Again, there was no colors or stamps involved. I just told them they needed to cut a card base, 8.5 by 5.5. Didn't say what color. I told them to cut a piece of designer series paper that was 4 by 5.25. Now that's kind of obvious what you can do with that. Then a strip of basic white that is 1.5 by 5.5. Another piece of colored cardstock that's 1 3/4 by 5.5. You know, and it's kind of assumed that the stuff should all kind of coordinate. And then a 2-inch square of basic white and a 2 1/4 inch of any color. So those are the pieces I told them to cut. And then what I said is, now you need to create with these pieces. You can cut them, but you can't add anything else to it. So if you want to make this a different size or cut it smaller or punch out of something, you can do whatever you want. But this is the absolute only cardstock or paper that you have to work with. So that's how the challenge worked. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp a card for you as well. Now, I did decide to cut this piece down a little bit. So rather than having it 5.5, I wanted it 5 1/4. So I'm going to trim that down. And then I also wanted my color piece at 5 1/4. So we'll trim that. Now, as long as we're trimming, and I got the cutter here, my 2-inch square, for the card I created, I only wanted it at 1.5. So we're going to keep the square. You know, remember, they could do whatever they want. They could punch out of these pieces or cut them down, or so we're just going to make that our scrap. Well, if we cut that down to 1 1/2, we're going to cut this one as well down to 1 3/4. Hopefully these are the right sizes. Okay, so remember the challenge? We started with those pieces and then we could cut them down. So we'll go ahead, set the cutter aside, and then let's go to this 5 1/4 now by 1 1/2. Now, over on my website, and there is a link right down in the description of this video that will take you to the blog post, I will have all of the challenge information. I have a diagram that shows what pieces to cut. So if you want to do this as well and challenge yourself, you can. And then I'll have pictures and details for the card I'm going to make for you, as well as several of my teammates' cards. I wanted to kind of show off some of the things they did just to maybe get your box thinking or your head thinking outside of the box. So make sure you go check those out, okay? And if they have a blog of their own or a Facebook, I put a link to it so you can check out and see some of their projects as well. Okay, let's get stamping. We are going to use Timeless Tulips. And like I said, an oldie but a goodie. You'd think me and my tulips, I'd use this more often. So I was kind of excited to pull it out. Now we're going to go ahead, stamp 1 tulip there. And we are using Melon Mambo. So let's stamp another one. And then Granny Apple Green for our stems. We're really only going to use the 2 colors of stamp pads. So, you know, when I kind of did the challenge on my own, it's like, okay, well, I picked Granny Apple Green, so we better bring some Granny Apple Green into our card. And then we'll take the leaf. Now, this stamp set actually has 3 different leaves, so you can kind of mix and match them. I like to kind of turn them upside down. Stamp one way, and then when you flip it, and that way, for this card, I really could use several of the leaves, but let's just keep it super simple here, kind of show off the tulips more. So there's that. Now, one thing I kind of like to do, and you've seen me do this before, is a speckle stamp. The tulip set didn't have that. So in the Forever Fern, which I know a lot of you have this one as well, there's a great little speckle stamp. I actually keep this on my stamping desk rather than in that in the stamp case, because I like to use it a lot. So we're going to ink it up in black. Now, you have to be careful. I always say, don't overdo, don't kill these tulips. We want to just go real lightly, ink it up and real lightly. And we're only going to do this in just a couple places. Kind of, you know, it'd be the same as if you did a little splattering, I guess. But just don't like stamp, stamp, stamp and overdo it. Okay, let's grab the adhesive. Okay, since this piece was cut 1 1/2 and the black was 1 3/4, these should layer really nice. You'll see some of my team members, they took that colored piece down there and they punched some shapes and did some different things with it. Oh, let's slide that over. Boy, I didn't center that very good, did I? What you saw right there is one of the reasons I really like the liquid adhesive, because you can pop it up before it's permanently down on there. Okay, set that aside. Let's take our card base. So this was 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. I always like to stamp something on the inside. So let's go ahead and just put a couple more of these tulips on the inside. So we'll do the 2 smaller ones. And, you know, we're going to stamp these just like we did. We'll go ahead and give them some stems and maybe a little bit of leaves. Let's see how much room we have. But you can see I stamped it that way. Now I just flip it that way. And it does give it a different look, and just kind of run it along that stem. Let's go ahead and just put a few black speckles on there as well. And now we are ready to put our card together, and then we'll add our greeting. So we'll take our Granny Apple Green Designer Series paper. If you guys don't have these color packs, I love them. I love printed paper, but sometimes it's too busy, or I just don't, want to stay with those colors. But those color group pieces are perfect because you get an assortment and you get all of the different colors from a color group in them. There's 4 different prints. And now remember, this piece actually started out 5 1/2, but I cut it down to 5 1/4 because I wanted it to, kind of cut off where that Designer Series paper cut off. So there's the front. Now let's go ahead and do our greeting. So I took one of the stamps from the Timeless Tulips. And this, you can see now why I had cut this piece down a little bit from the original 2x2, but that was allowed. I just had to start with 2x2. And we'll stick that on like so. Oops, boy, I'm having problems getting things straight here today. So there we go. Then let's grab the dimensionals. And we're going to just flip that over and put a couple of dimensionals on it. Peel those off. We'll add our greeting. Let's just kind of overlap it by those tulips a little bit. And there we go. We could actually stop right there, but I wanted to jazz it up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and put a linen bow on it. You know, my kind of signature move here. I do a lot of linen bows. Whoops, I can't even tie them today. I think my nails are just too long and they are not working good for me. Let's see, pull that. So I like to just tie these bows and then pull them so the loops are two different sizes. And then we'll go ahead and trim that off like so. And we'll go ahead and take a mini glue dot. And with these, I like to kind of fold them in half a little bit so we don't have any of it sticking out from where that knot in the bow is. And we'll put it on there, but see how that just adds just that extra little touch on there. Then let's go ahead and add some black matte dots. Now with these, I like to use my take your pick tool and just kind of pop underneath there because they're on like a glue dot, so they have to, you know, you got to kind of make sure that glue, you get underneath it and you kind of scoop up that glue dot, I guess. And we'll put just a couple of these. Let's put a smaller one right there. So we added those just for extra little doodad. And there we go. There is a Timeless Tulip card that, like I said, I love this stamp set. We're going to pull it out again, I'm sure, here real soon. But that's what I made for my challenge. Now, hop over to my website. Again, that link is down in the description, and you'll see the cards my teammates made, as well as the diagram, how I kind of presented the challenge to them with all the cutting directions. So if you'd like to give your hand at it and cut your pieces and try to do something, I'd love to see what you do. If you do, send me an email and attach your picture on it so I can see it. I'd love to see how you participate in the challenge as well. And then don't forget, if you would like to do fun stamping challenges, stamping get-togethers, we do Zoom nights where we stamp together, and just be part of a super fun stamping community, I would absolutely love to have you. Whether you'd like to have a business or you're just a hobby stamper, everybody's welcome at the Klompen Stampers, and we just love to share and stamp together. So reach out to me. Let me know if you have any questions or if I can answer anything or help you decide if it's for you. So hope you like the card. Hop over to my website for the details on this and the other information, and I'll be stamping again with you real soon. Have a stamp happy day.